This is 7 National News, and in our top story, His Highness Sheikh Mohammed bin Rashid Al Maktoum, the UAE Vice President, Prime Minister and ruler of Dubai, visited the 41st Middle East Electricity Exhibition, which is being held over at the Dubai World Trade Center. His Highness Sheikh Mohammed toured the exhibition, in which nearly 1,500 companies from 56 countries, including the UAE, are participating to review developments in the electricity and solar energy sector, especially in regards to clean energy. The ruler of Dubai welcomed the fact that many countries in the world, including the UAE, are moving towards producing clean energy to protect the environment from pollution, preserve human health, and reduce the high costs of conventional electricity. He also commended the giant solar station projects that are being implemented in this vital sector, particularly in Abu Dhabi and Dubai, which are expected to increase the amount of electricity being generated in the country over the next few years. The UAE strongly believes in the importance of its human resources in all fields, as stated by His Highness Sheikh Mohammed bin Zayed Al Nahyan, the Crown Prince of Abu Dhabi and Deputy Supreme Commander of the UAE Armed Forces. The Crown Prince's comments came while opening the National Service School of the Presidential Guards at Sih Hafeer camp, built especially for the recruits of the National Service with the latest training systems. He added that the UAE leadership's mission to modernise and upgrade the capabilities of the armed forces is not limited to procurement of the latest equipment and arms technology, but also to prepare human resources that are capable of dealing with the different defence technologies. The Crown Prince stated that the UAE has adopted a firm principle of investing in human resources as the country's key asset. During his tour, he inspected the school's classrooms, training halls and training simulators. He then watched a demonstration of skills by the recruits while being briefed on the training and teaching curricula. At the outdoor training ground, the National Service recruits performed different exercises, such as field and infantry skills, weapon assembling, and physical fitness exercises. His Highness then opened the school by unveiling an official plaque. The Ministry of Health and Prevention has shut down 7 medical facilities for 30 to 60 days for committing a number of public health violations. 4 medical centres and 3 pharmacies have been shut down since the beginning of the year for a number of violations, including selling controlled drugs to the youth, according to reports, as announced by Dr. Amin Hussein Al-Ameri, the Assistant Undersecretary for Public Health Policy and the Licence Sector, who's also the Vice Chairman of the Medical Licensing Committee. Officials also stated that the temporary shutdowns have been taken to safeguard public health. Some of the other closures include an obstetrics and gynecology clinic, which was found to be operating without a female nurse or an official licence. It also only had initial approvals. In another case, a pharmacy was being run by a trainee, while a dental clinic was found to be unhygienic due to dirt and dust. The RTA has launched a new 24-hour limousine taxi service and can be booked through a number of channels, as announced by the Road and Transport Authority. It was noted that the service is targeted towards hotels and airports. Yusuf Al-Ali, the CEO of Dubai Taxi Corporation, was quoted saying that the step has been taken with the idea of improving taxi services, as well as offering an exclusive service to tourists through deluxe vehicles served by highly trained chauffeurs. He added that the service is offered at competitive rates and at a variety of meter-based fare options according to areas and timings. The customer service staff are also deployed around the clock to welcome visitors. The service can be booked by sending an email message, calling a hotline number, visiting the DTC's customer service office at the Dubai Airport's Arrivals Lounge, Terminal 1, 2 and 3, or through a smart app. The Dubai Health Authority's General Medical Committee has approved more than 2,500 requests for special parking permits for people with disabilities. DHA officials revealed that there are 4 colour categories of car stickers, where blue is for those who have permanent disabilities, red for temporary immobility, which is limited to 1 year, green for vehicles belonging to organisations for people with disabilities, and yellow for tourists. Of the approved applications, 2,073 permits were issued to those with permanent disabilities and 228 permits for those with temporary disabilities, such as injuries and fractures, and 161 chronic disability permits were issued, which are limited to parking spots in 116 hospitals and health centres in Dubai. The RTA issued the remaining 165 permits to senior citizens. As nearly 360 million people around the world live with some form of disabling hearing loss, people around the world marked World Hearing Day today to highlight the benefits of early treatment for childhood hearing loss. This year's WHO World Hearing Day on March the 3rd is dedicated to the theme of childhood hearing loss. Act now, here is how. On the occasion, experts in the industry stated that early intervention can improve the lives of millions of children living with hearing disabilities, while also giving them the chance to live normal lives. Officials representing Med-El, a leading provider of hearing implant systems, stated that there are potential advantages of treating childhood deafness or hearing loss at an early age, as children first explore their world around them, learning to engage with their peers. Adding that early identification and intervention through implantation can help children with severe hearing loss. Officials highlighted that treating children before the age of 12 months gives them a better chance of reaching their full developmental potential. It was also mentioned that more than 32 million children around the world are affected by moderate to severe hearing loss. And experts suggest that approximately 60% of hearing loss in childhood can be prevented by early intervention.
The important thing about hearing losses, severe hearing loss, is that it's detected in an early age of the children. This is specifically important because speech and language develops at an early age, and only if a child has hearing sensation, it can mimic and develop hearing accordingly, and therefore it needs to be recognized and treated as early as possible. We're working a lot with professionals, with the governments to increase the awareness about hearing screening. Hearing screening is a very simple method to find out whether a child has proper hearing, and in case that it is detected that a child has hearing impairment, it can be treated with hearing implants to restore the hearing of the child at an early age.
I had this implant done in my right ear in 2010 in India. And it was the first time I got to hear about cochlear implants. And after the switch on, things I couldn't do before, like driving, going to college, listening to music, that kind of things I could do now. The implant had, practically gave me the life which I had before. Because sound localization, because to find where the sound is coming from and all that is very difficult, I decided to go bilateral so that I am able to hear well.
And finally, looking to other news now, leading writers and professionals attending the Emirates Airline Festival of Literature today focused their attention on how to improve the lives of many working women who have too many priorities at work and at home. On the third day of the 12-day literary festival in Dubai, organisers highlighted that the message this year is to clearly highlight the UAE's Year of Reading initiative. And the journey so far has exceeded their expectations, with many visitors from around the world attending the event. Adding that the calibre of writers, speakers and filmmakers and poets emerging from this region has grown in strength this year. Festival officials highlighted that unlike previous years, this year their focus has shifted to topics that reflect the day-to-day concerns of working professionals living in the country. During one of the sessions today at the Dubai International Writers' Centre, working men and women in the UAE were given a few tips on how to balance work-life priorities, suggesting that they should learn to say no more while attending family matters at home. At one other session on lights, camera and action production, Visitors and students got a chance to learn from the experts about the things to remember before taking the plunge into the industry. A total of 160 authors from 35 countries will be holding over 300 sessions and workshops at this year's event, which will then conclude on the 12th of March.
It's been absolutely wonderful to be able to have 12 days of celebration all around the written and spoken word. This year we've started off in Shindiga, the historical area of Dubai, and we've had days and nights of absolute wonder. We've done things we've never done before. Our first night started off with a tribute to the late Mohammed bin Hadha, one of Dubai's most favourite poets who sadly is no longer with us. But his words were brought to life by the speakers and the commentators on the night. And it just felt so good to remember. He'd been at our festival in 2010. And then last night we had From the Desert to the Sea, and we had invited some amazing Emirati poets and storytellers. And my goodness, they had us in fits of laughter with their stories. And it was just so much like sitting in the Majlis of old. Today we've had a workshop here going on this morning with Asma Lutar and Mayal Khalifa and myself, talking about how to achieve a better work-life balance. And I think all of us enjoyed it and wished it could have gone on longer than it did. And tonight we have the poeticians coming in force, poets who live in this part of the world but are from many different places, and they come together in force. And we have another choir from Tripoli, Lebanon, again part of the Choir Fest Middle East, who will be wowing us, I'm sure, with their musical interpretations.
It's back to what I said, is to give priority. So you give priorities to your family during the weekend, and obviously for moms, they have to give priorities, you know, after working hours. So after they finish work, they need to switch off and focus on their family, and they have also to learn to say no sometimes to their bosses, because you cannot do everything. I know everyone wants to please their bosses, but sometimes there is bosses they will keep demanding, and it will affect your life balance. So don't answer calls after working hours. Be strict about it. Just train the other person that this is the way I'm going to do it, and during the working hours, do it fully. Give it 100%.